You are now tuned into Flippin the Birds, a Philly Sports Network podcast.
What's going on, Eagles fans? Welcome all to episode 152 of Flippin the Birds. I'm Brian Cameron alongside Eric Reese, Morgan Burkett, Zach Chavalella, and we're live after a big blowout win in MetLife, where the Eagles took down the Giants and they actually clinched playoff berth, the only team to do so this season in the league. And the defense showed out, offense showed out. Before we get into that, obviously, how you guys feeling tonight?
I'm feeling pretty great. I mean, I think you probably feel bittersweet after that victory. So, I mean, it depends. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Okay. I'm a great Eagles fan.
It's awesome.
Nice for someone to lend you that jersey.
Hey, shout out to Nick Faria, who lent me this jersey because he told me Randall Cunningham is the best quarterback in Eagles history.
Yeah, Randall Cunningham told me to tell you both that he was better. So, I mean, it had to be true, right? That's why I'm wearing the jersey too. I agree. He is very convincing. He said I'm better than McNabb, and tell Nick and tell Brian that I did. And here we are.
How you feeling, Zach?
I just saw the craziest thing. Sorry, and like I said before we got on, I'm a bottle of sake deep real quick, so
it's already off.
It's gonna be a night for me.
Already off the
touchdown.
So in non-Eagles news, real quick, the Sixers just unveiled their new mascot, which is a little version of their current mascot, Franklin. It's supposed to be his little brother, and yet its name is Franklin Jr. So I don't know what's going on in the good old Franklin family, but some weird stuff going on with the Sixers right now. But now, as far as Birds go, I'm feeling great. Unlike Brian, my team won on Sunday, so I feel really good. Boston Scott got, of course, his anytime touchdown in MetLife, so that's for anyone wise enough to take advantage. It seems like the sports books still have not learned, so continue on hammering that BS anytime touchdown. But no, it's great. The Devonta Smith, I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit more later. But let's not forget about the Devonta Smith touchdown too. That was a personal highlight for me, just because coming into the game, I'm sure we all saw the video of when the Eagles traded up ahead of the Giants to draft Devonta Smith. Like, that's a storyline that I'm never going to let go away, just because it is the just epitome of Philadelphia fandom. I feel celebrating something like that. So anytime Devonta Smith plays the Giants, I'm looking for a big game out of him. And I'm just going to sit back and laugh and remember that video. So it was great time all the way around. Not a whole lot of worrying, just a lot of celebration.
Can we talk about that moment as well? I mean, did Giants fans really think he would be depressed going to go play with Jalen Hurts over Daniel Jones? Like, can we get over the Daniel Jones topic?
I hope not. They didn't feel that. They would be so sorely disappointed.
Yeah, like any receiver who plays with Daniel Jones. Yeah, I think you're exactly right, Eric.
It's gotten so bad, all faking the injuries right now.
I'll tell you this. I was surprised that Sterling Shepard was back in. I didn't even know that.
I didn't even know anybody on the offense played for the Giants.
But Sterling was back in. I was a little surprised by that. But not a great day. I mean, save for that block punt, which I feel like I don't know about you guys, but I feel like there was that kind of feeling of dread, when we were kicking out of their own end zone. That's like, yeah, this is not going to end well. It's either going to be a big return or they're going to get a block. And listen, shout out to Aaron Sipos, like, gets a lot of shit.
The smoothest scoop in the world.
However, the scoop and run and the heart, like,
the
you gotta appreciate it.
One-handed scooping.
One-handed. You gotta appreciate it. You gotta love it. I mean,
dude, if he stood in bounds, that was a first down.
He didn't even get the first down, but it's his greatest play as a Philadelphia Eagle.
He fought for the first down too.
If
He
he
fought
stood him
for
down,
it.
he would have gotten it.
Yeah, I mean, he had
One of
stepped out
those
a couple
athletic
yards
plays in
before,
Premier
so he
League.
might have. Yeah,
There's
but listen, he should have a lot more fans in Philadelphia after that.
I agree
there's
with that.
definitely been like a change of culture in that special teams locker room in the last couple of weeks, because that shit like that wouldn't have happened week 3. Like he would just try to kick it again. Didn't the Giants kicker do that? Like dropped it and then tried to kick it again. Like that's some shit that like
Yo,
you know what I mean? That's
reminding my kid when she kicks a soccer
Yeah.
ball.
yeah, exactly. Like in that, and and the difference is, it's just crazy. It's almost night and day with the special teams. Like
By the way, Jake Elliott punting that ball, man, actually wasn't a bad punt whatsoever. It took off.
yeah. I mean, pretty bad for
Yeah.
a kicker, an NFL kicker, but like,
I mean, I think that's a little bit of a different technique. I'm not sure. I'm not going to be one to split hands.
Yeah, well, it's the steps is what it is. Like obviously you think like kicking the ball. Like, I mean, I'm sure he did better than like you put in like. Listen, Jason Kelsey can do anything, but I think Jake Elliott would have punted the ball a little bit better than like Kelsey, for instance. But it's
I wanna
the
see
timing
BG
on the
back there.
steps are insane. Listen, if there's anyone who can, it
BG.
must be BG. That's
Yeah,
that I
100%.
do
Can we talk about
thoroughly
like,
believe that.
this wild infusion of youth in BG right now this season? I mean, close to 10 sacks for the year, and he had 3 of them against the freaking Giants, and he was literally all over the place.
Yeah. Well, whatever Tom Brady, was taking, I think it was like child goat soul that he was taking to stay young. It seems like Brandon Graham just stole that from him after the Super Bowl, and he's been getting younger and better each and every season as Tom. I mean, obviously we know what's happening.
Did
with
you
Tom
just say
Brady,
child goat soul?
Child goat soul. Yeah, not a full known goat, but a kid. Like
Catch up, Brian.
like-
Come on, man.
But you can't
Pay
say
attention.
kid soul because then it's got the implication.
Right.
But you can't say kid soul because there's the implication. So you got
This episode
child
is going to
goat
be
soul.
reported to Liam.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think they do in training camp, Brian? Train? No. Child goat soul, whatever
Goat soul,
I'm
that's
trying
it.
to tell you now. That's what they
That's
do.
it. Yeah.
That and ice cream.
That and ice cream. Yeah.
And weird kissing sessions with their sons. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's the Tom Brady method, the TB12.
Well, I heard BG didn't do that, and maybe that's the difference of why it's still working for him.
Yeah,
so
think so.
that could be why.
Although it
Easy didn't
sounds like
cross
the
that
Philly
line.
mascot might have been up to some of that. So
So possibly,
yeah.
can't rule it out. Yeah.
So,
Um,
so going back
Sorry,
to
what were you saying,
football,
Brian?
guys.
You want to go ahead?
Let's go back to football, guys. Because I want to cover the Giants really quick because I want to get your before we bring on our guest tonight to cover the Bears. I really want to get your opinion on what Michael Parsons just said on Bleacher Report Live with Von Miller. But going back to the Giants really quick, I mean, what impressed you the most in this game? I mean, to me at least, it was, I don't know if anybody's seen this, but the way that Jalen Hurts is operating at quarterback right now, it feels like he's not even doing anything. Like it's effortless. Like it's just a walk in the park for him. And to see like this kind of growth in this guy, like how can anybody question if he's MVP at this point? Like best player on the best team, and definitely a top 5 quarterback this season.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure we'll get into details, and I don't want to steal anyone's thunder by saying this, but I think just like the main thing that stood out for me is finally we see a complete game from all phases, and that's the big thing we've been pounding the table for. And again, I don't want to steal anyone's thunder, but it was just nice to see like everything kind of clicking, which is crazy that they're 12-1, and now is the time when it's happening, right? So, I mean, it's just kind of like a deep breath of going into the playoffs that, okay, we can watch them in all phases of football play well in the span of one game.
Yeah, he's taken a tremendous leap from last season to this season, to the point where the only person I think that could compute them for an MVP is Mahomes, and it's because Mahomes has, I think, one more touchdown than Hurts does. And I think that Mahomes has a little bit more of the backing by the national media. That's the only reason why. I think it besides that, I don't want to sound homerish, but it sounds like it should be Hurts outright.
Yeah. I agree. I think there's less opportunity for Hurts to have major games in the last remaining games. So that's going to be big. Just because the Chiefs, man, they just have the Chargers in the division, and they these are the Raiders. Even when they're down and out, that's always a good matchup, and you have these opportunities for big matchups. And I just feel like the Eagles, the Cowboys game is going to be big, obviously. And And, you know, like I feel like Patrick Mahomes could probably lose against the Chargers and he'd still be a front runner, but God forbid Jalen Hurts loses against the Cowboys. I guarantee you, if the Eagles for some reason lose against the Cowboys, Jalen Hurts is all of a sudden out of the conversation.
But does it matter, honestly, if he loses the Cowboys? Like, think about
It shouldn't.
It really
shouldn't. But I bet you it does.
I think it does
Yeah.
because of the national media's opinion. That's how everything is weighted. You know,
But
how
if
do
he
you
throws
do
for
against your
300
division?
yards and 3 touchdowns,
Yeah.
and somehow they get, you know, they lose by 3 points, like, are we still saying this kid's not the MVP?
If they lose in the same fashion they did to the Commanders when it comes down to turnovers that you can't control, and then that's what does it, then I disagree with it. But I do think that that's going to be the spin that the media puts on it. It's like, oh well, you know, the Cowboys they were a playoff threat, right? And then they won on that Christmas Eve. I think that would splinter it. So yeah, I think up to that game, you win that game, you can rest your starters. That's what matters, and how he performs, and if they win, that will seal the deal, in my opinion, for the MVP for Hurts.
Yeah, I mean, if he throws 3 picks, you know, if he's under 200 yards passing, under say under 250 total, like if he just gets bottled up in the game, like that's one thing. But are we really expecting that? I mean, you can almost even say that about any quarterback, because like theoretically it is possible any given Sunday. But that being said, what has Jalen Hurts done to make you think that that is going to happen? I mean, you look at his last game against the Cowboys. Yeah, he didn't throw for that many passing yards, but he didn't have to win the game. He was still threw 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Okay, the rushing attack was there for Philadelphia. The defense was against Cooper Rush, so obviously, you know, there's not that sense of urgency that he's going to have as he will next time going against Dak Prescott. But even still, if you look at every other game this season, you know, by and large, Jalen Hurts is not giving you any reason for concern. He's shown is that he can win a game any way he has to, whether it's with his legs, whether it's with his arms. You know, he's one of the most impressive quarterbacks in the league when it comes to clock management and assessing the situation as well. I mean, he's just so much more cerebral than most quarterbacks, and I think that's what puts him a leg above Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, the system Mahomes is in calls for him to throw more often and get a lot of those sexy quarterback stats. But he also has 11 interceptions to Jalen Hurts' 3. That's a pretty big deal. And you know, you compound that with the record that Hurts has over Mahomes. I don't know how you say Jalen Hurts is not the MVP. And even if he has a subpar for him game against the Dallas Cowboys, in all likelihood, it's still going to be better than half the quarterbacks in the league.
So I have a weird statement to make, and maybe, you know, if you guys disagree, by all means, you know, absolutely say it. But they say Mahomes is pretty much like the Jordan in the NFL, right? Like, you know, he's that guy, right? Or the LeBron. Let's say LeBron. Brady's a Jordan. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Jalen Hurts, in almost every aspect of his game, reminds you of Kobe Bryant. Like, just cerebral, like just straight, you know, killer mentality. I'm not gonna smile about anything. I'm not gonna joke around about anything unless it makes sense to me. Like, it's all business, and it just that stillness, that presence that he has, where he walks into a room and he owns it. Like, it just reminds me so much of Kobe. If we're looking at it, like, you know, comparing these guys to you know, the NBA legends.
It's got levels to it. What I really like about Jalen Hurts this year is we're starting to see him play the game at his own pace. Like, that was the big thing last year, is that he would just rush things. He would try and get out of the pocket too early. He would, you know, like, he wouldn't want to hit the check down, so he's holding the ball for too long or whatever it is. And this year he's just playing at his own pace, which is, for a quarterback in the National Football League, pretty rare, because you know, defenses are going to do whatever they can to get you off that rhythm. But it doesn't seem to matter. And you know, you're talking about Kobe, like, that's how Kobe was. Kobe played the game at his own pace. And you know, like, he turned it on when he needed to, and he didn't let anyone kind of phase him. There's no panic, there's no anything like that. And so I mean, there's a lot of basketball players you can compare that to. I think all the greats, that's kind of their thing, is whoever you're looking at in any sport kind of plays the game at their own pace. And then just doesn't let anything kind of hurry them or affect them. And so getting into that kind of mode, like, it's a great time of the year for that to happen, but it's a great time in his career for that to happen. This is like 2.5 years.
24 years old, dude.
For him to get that already is ridiculous. Like, no matter what the Eagles do in this playoffs, you have to think that Jalen Hurts is going to be a pretty incredible quarterback for the next, you know, 5 to 7 years.
That's absolutely true. And there's a lot of what I agree with that analogy or comparison for Jalen Hurts to Kobe Bryant. There is a lot of that quote unquote Mamba mentality that, that I assume, is him just being under pressure, calm and collected. You don't see him ever get too, high on the bench when, there's people, there was that photo that went around Twitter where there was, who was celebrating on the bench next to him. I think it might have been
Devontae and
Quez
AJ.
Watkins.
Yeah, it was Quez, Devontae, and AJ. They were laughing it up and just like having a
Yeah.
good time. And
And
Jalen's
then
like,
he is just laser focused on like nothing at all to compare, even not even looking that way. Like that's kind of how you want your quarterback to be. I bet when that parade happens, if they go all the way and they win the Super Bowl, I bet you Jalen Hurts is going to be the first one turned up. But until then, he knows, it's locked in. It's, championship or not. And, that's exactly the expectations that you want from a franchise quarterback. I think that's the difference between the culture that you see now and the, the ascension that the Eagles had from the Wentz era to the Hurts era in particular.
yeah, I definitely agree with that. And before we bring our guest on, because we have about 7 minutes. So Michael Parsons was live on Bleacher Report tonight with Von Miller. Two defensive ends chopping it up, talking football. Parsons had this statement about the Eagles, and actually mostly towards Jalen Hurts. Is it Hurts or the team? It's the system and the team. So kind of, discrediting Jalen Hurts, where it's kind of like, it's funny. I had this conversation with a friend of mine over the weekend where it's kind of like comparing Dak Prescott and Jalen. Dak is in my opinion, a pretty damn good game manager. But you see what happens when you take away a weapon from a game manager. Mari Cooper is no longer part of that team, and they have no deep threat. Dak is not. He's hasn't been throwing deep at all. And the couple times he does, I think he's had incompletions and interception. Jalen Hurts more than that. Jalen Hurts is a game changer. He can manage the game however he wants because it's going to flow through him, like we just spoke about moments ago. But to see Michael Parsons actually make a statement like this when you've lost to the Eagles already, the Eagles are 12-1. They're beating you in your own division, and you have a very important game coming up on Christmas Eve. I feel like it's a really bold move to make, to give a team like this bulletin board material when they really don't need it, but they're gonna use it against you. I mean, did they not? Is he not learning from the Nick Sirianni mistake where Sirianni had that shirt on, beat Dallas, whatever the case was.
Yeah, no, and I think that Micah Parsons has proven, especially in recent history, that he's a guy who's quick to speech. So it's not surprising to see him recklessly do something like that. I absolutely agree that that is just given Philadelphia more fuel because while on the one hand, you're complimenting the scheme, the coaching staff and the scheme they implemented, the players on every other spot on the team. Uh, First of all, you're dissing the quarterback, which is just that's never something another team's going to pick. On top of that, Jalen Hurts is one of the most beloved quarterbacks by his own locker room in the entire NFL. So you think these guys are not going to fight for 4 quarters for not just their quarterback, but this guy in particular? Now, Parsons is asking for trouble. It's a pretty big check that he's writing. I don't know that they're going to be able to cash it, but it's also pretty bold coming from a guy who's quarterback. And let's be honest about Dak Prescott. And I'm not a hater on Dak Prescott, or I don't think I am as much as some others. I think that he does do some impressive things from time to time, but in my mind, he's much closer to like a Kirk Cousins in a sense. You talk about that kind of game managing, and I think there's a lot of kind of empty calorie yards that he throws. There's a lot of garbage time yards that he historically.
I like you put the empty calorie yards. I like that.
That's what it is. Like it doesn't contribute. Like it does not help the team grow. It's not nourishing. So there's a lot of that to it. It's not like he's rolling out there with a Josh Allen, a Patrick Mahomes, a Lamar Jackson, like guys who have actually really contributed to their teams. Like when Dallas has done well, there have been plenty of pieces around Dak Prescott, just like what Micah Parsons is accusing Jalen Hurts of doing. So it to me, listen, it's not surprising that Micah Parsons is doing something like that. I love that he did it just because I think Philadelphia is absolutely going to react accordingly. And I can't wait for Christmas Eve. I don't know about you guys, but I'm all ready for it.
I think it's a pretty ballsy statement from a a player on a team where they're about to start Jason Peters against this defensive line. So if you want to write some bulletin board material, it's not going to shake Jalen Hurts. That's fine. Say what you want, but that defensive line is going to come in like missiles. So, yeah, Zach, I echo your sentiments. I'm pretty excited for Christmas Eve.
Yeah, Brandon Graham loves his quarterback. He's absolutely, especially going against Jason Peters again, because Eric, you brought up a great point there. Now going up against Jason Peters, like that was already for guys like Fletch, for guys like Brandon Graham, that's already something they were looking forward to. But now you add this in, and again, Brandon Graham is that name that sticks out to me just because, along with Jalen Hurts, he is one of those leaders of this Philadelphia Eagles team.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to absolutely be looking to feast every single snap that he plays. It's going to be great.
For me, I try really hard to like Micah Parsons. I know he does really good things. Like I've seen tweets about him being a good dude. He's a Penn State guy. Like you want to like him. He's a Cowboy. But
you want to no.
I just don't like him. Like he's just an asshole. He's just an imbecile. Like to say, first of all, the whole system quarterback thing is such an overplayed narrative. Like one of the best dynasties of all time, you could argue, was a system. Is Tom Brady a system quarterback? He had a pretty good coach. He had a pretty good system. Or is it just the case that you need a good system to be good in the NFL? Plus, you need a good quarterback. Like how many actual teams are this good and it's just the system? Like zero. It's not going to fucking happen. You look at quarterbacks and who, no matter how great a quarterback is, who can win in spite of the system. Like a great 100%. Quarterback takes their skill set and combines it into the system to thrive. Exactly. Right? They actively do. And you even see Jalen Hurts do that as well. You saw Carson Wentz in his very, very short prime. That's what he was doing also. Like that's what good quarterbacks do. They're able to take their skill set. And this is, I think, to a degree what Tom Brady did. I think that you're right. I think he's that kind of arguably that super role player type because you can't look at the defense that the Patriots had. You can't look at some of the receivers that he had. You can't look at a Belichick coached team and say, well, Tom Brady won that all on his own. Like what quarterback actually goes out and does that? I mean, Peyton Manning had a pretty good coach when they
absolutely.
And similarly, Patrick Mahomes is a pretty damn good coach. We know firsthand how good Andy Reid of a coach. So it's an overplayed narrative. I don't like it at all. But it's really, really hard to say that and apply it to a quarterback who leads the league in downfield accuracy, who leads the league in big plays downfield, who clearly does not need the system to outrun your whole fucking team for a touchdown, who put up a record number of franchise yards. Like okay Michael Parsons, like that's fantastic. I just they're just statements in a rivalry, but I mean the system could be fantastic, but you
think he was just trying to sound smart in front of Von Miller for a second?
It's not even smart. It's just this is the MVP front runner. It's a system guy. Okay. Which MVP can you look at in previous history where it's it's just a system guy? Go tell that to Aaron Rodgers.
I would hate to say it, but maybe Tom Brady.
Well, fair enough. But then, again, Tom Brady's never had a bad coach in his career.
That's fair.
So, and now you're seeing him without an offensive mind. Well, he's trying to, he's still Tom Brady. I'm not discrediting him at all. But again, there's no one without the other. It's peanut butter without the jam, man. Go eat a spoonful of peanut butter and tell you it's not a complete sandwich. It's because it's not. You know what I mean? It's just silly. Oh, Jalen Hurts is a system quarterback. Yeah, because they're a fucking good system in Philly, but he's also a good quarterback. That's like saying, oh, Micah Parsons, you understand how many people on that defensive line just are there to eat up double teams for Micah Parsons. Literally, that's what they do. They eat up double teams and they let Micah Parsons blitz from a distance. That you're not a fucking system guy. Eat a dick, buddy. I don't know. It's just ridiculous.
I think that's the quote of the night.
It is, but it's
I can't wait to drop this the video of the out of context.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh God! All right, so
one more thing on that, because his quarterback is Dak Prescott. They're when they did play the best team in the league that they've played, according to Parsons, because I assume he's not giving the credit to the Eagles. I assume he's going to talk to the Vikings. Dak fucking dumped it off to Pollard for huge touchdowns. How is that not a system?
I mean, it helps my system
wide
in
open.
fantasy to finish 10th in the league.
You
Yeah,
conned
there
me
you
in that
go.
freaking trade, you bastard.
Thank you.
I'm pretty sure I warned you. I just want to get that on the record about
You
that.
definitely
trade.
did. You definitely
I did.
did. But I mean, I haven't. No offense, I have not been paying attention to that league for some.
Oh, well, you're in the playoffs and I'm not.
You
so that's
son
how
of
it
a
goes.
bitch.
I'm in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think you're like 8th seed, right? I don't know. We'll check it out later.
Damn, hold on. In my other league, 8th seed is bad by for like 20 teams in our league.
I finished 10th, right where Yahoo told me. So I told
You are, in
everybody,
fact,
I told the
the
world
8th
that Yahoo lies. Turns out they're honest.
Seed. All right, trade me back on Tony Pollard to drop him, and I'll pick him up.
Nah, bro. AB's gonna wreck you.
Who am I facing? Oh no. Well,
Like the Dallas Cowboys, man, you are gonna be one and done in these playoffs.
oh, absolutely,
Absolutely, for sure.
Why does he have nobody lined up in his lineup right now?
That's his thing. That's what he does. I thought I don't know. I asked him about it. He said that it's gamesmanship. You know, he takes everybody out of his lineup and then he just puts them in like Thursday, day of competition, and it's
kind of like that. I don't know why.
what he does. He's first in the league. Like,
It's
I know why he's first in the league. I helped him with that. I traded him Nick Chubb.
yeah, I helped him too. Yeah, I took Russell Wilson off
Yeah,
his hands. Yeah,
I'm really ashamed to say that that was completely auto drafted that team.
Well,
better luck next year.
We're at the half. Well, next year we're doing half the teams in next year.
And Infante's running it again because I can't do it again. Infante's heading it back up.
Joining us now to talk about Eagles and Bears is Nick DeMaria to break down Justin Fields versus Jalen Hurts. I'm a little mad that they're missing their wide receiver whose name I can't say right now for some weird reason because I don't want to pronounce it wrong.
Yeah, Darnell Mooney.
Darnell Mooney. There it is. I don't know. I was thinking Mahoney. I'm like, who the hell's Mahoney? But what's going on, Nick? How you feeling, man?
Good, you?
Doing well. I'm still bald.
Oh, that's tough, man.
Dude, tell us a little about you, man. I mean, you're definitely a diehard Bears fan from everything I can see over there.
Oh, yeah. I'm a diehard Bears fan since 2006 when they made the Super Bowl. Brian Urlacher, one of my idols. I remember Devin Hester.
Don't let him fool you. He's actually bald. That toupee,
Oh, I know.
Don't let him fool you, all right?
Oh, I know. I remember that Devin Hester kickoff return to start off the Super Bowl. That sort of got everything going. And, here I am today as a massive Bears fan, just a huge sports fan in general. So.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. We appreciate you guys coming on. I'm actually a very big Justin Fields guy, and I was rooting for Justin Fields to be drafted by the Eagles a couple years ago. So yeah, I'll take that to the grave with me. But he's gone off this season. He's doing it with his legs, but he's showing that he's a game changer of a quarterback. What are you seeing that he could bring against the Eagles this Sunday?
His legs. Pretty straightforward, especially since the wide receiver group hasn't been the best, and now Darnell Mooney down. He's going to be using his legs a lot more. I know he had a few injuries a few weeks ago, had 2 weeks off, played the Packers, and now he had another 2 weeks off. So he should be fresh. Face an Eagles D who I know is very good, and also without Robert Quinn. So.
Yeah, we'll miss that. I mean, he'll be on the sidelines, I'm sure. But
I know he hasn't been doing the best though since the trade. So.
Yeah, I was just about to say that it's kind of like we didn't have him the entire time in a sense. So.
Was he injured in Chicago before he was traded?
You know what? He's had a few injuries. The first year that we had him, he had like this lingering foot injury, like dead foot, I think it was, and it like cost him basically the whole season. And but his whole career, when you look at it, it's been so on and off. 1 year he goes crazy, the next year he falls off, and people don't know which way his career is going to go each year. It's honestly strange.
Okay.
So just talking about Fields, obviously pretty fantastic on the run. He has shown some things as a passer, like some pretty impressive downfield throws. But the major difference, in my opinion, is probably just the coaching staff. What have you seen out of this coaching staff where it's been such a turn? Obviously, just lacking some talent, the Bears are, but it seems like they're headed in the right direction. And what can you tell us about the coaching staff?
Coaching staff's been phenomenal. Bringing in Matt Eberflus, it was a questionable call. I know a lot of Bears fans weren't too pleased with it, but I liked it. It sort of brought back Lovie Smith sort of era days, which great days for the Bears. So they brought him in. They bring in Luke Getsy from the Packers. So right away, I was really happy about that. Bringing in an Aaron Rodgers type of offense, and he's sort of gone that route now. The first few games of the year, it looked really bad. Offense was not clicking whatsoever. They weren't using Justin Fields' strengths. And all of a sudden, mid-season, it just started to click. And he just went on that roll where he was just terrorizing defenses. We saw him do it against the Patriots, against the Cowboys, that was one of my favorite games of the year. I can't stand the Cowboys, just like you guys. I can't stand the Cowboys. And just seeing him, with also Khalil Herbert and David Montgomery, the offensive line played well throughout that stretch, but now, injuries are catching up and stuff like that. And but overall, though, it's been great to see. Coaching staff actually knows what they're doing, because Matt Nagy didn't know what he was doing. He never.
He represented the ball community very poorly. I apologize for that. We talked about it a couple of times, but he didn't listen.
As a Delaware alumni, I apologize.
Hey, you know what?
It was my quarterback growing up.
Hey, the only respect I have for him is that he's the one that convinced the Bears to draft Justin Fields. So that's the only thing I thank him for. And also 2018, even though it wasn't really him, but which you guys ruined, by the way. But
that's fine.
Double doink. Jeez, that takes me back. That takes me back.
Oh man,
I actually had hair that year. I have photos to prove it.
Yeah, lost it midway with the ball midway through the air. Brian just lost the last.
You know what happened? I started looking in the mirror and I was watching First Take in the same time, and I saw Stephen A's hairline, and I was like, I can't walk around like this. This guy looks like an idiot. I can imagine how I look.
Hey, I almost lost my hair after that game. That was just man, that was rough. That was one of the greatest defenses I've ever seen in my life, and like it just went away just like that. I still can't believe it.
Hey, real quick, Brian, you were saying that you wanted the Eagles to take Justin Fields. Do you think if the Eagles did take Justin Fields, that he would be kind of would he be developing at a better rate than he would be on the Bears, kind of like in a Hurts sort of way? Like, would he all of a sudden, be this quarterback that's just not reliant solely on his feet? Because that's kind of what we see, I think, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of talking about the the quarterback coaching and how it's probably helped a few quarterbacks in Philadelphia versus the rest of the league.
I don't think so. It's weird because you're absolutely right. Like we've done really well with a lot of quarterbacks, right? But I don't think it would have helped Justin Fields the way it helped in Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts has what we just spoke about, the wild intangibles, the Mamba mentality, like this stillness to him that no other quarterback in this league has that. Aaron Rodgers had it once upon a time. Then he started talking and dating all these, these Hollywood stars.
Ayahuasca, baby, ayahuasca. We're hoping to come. Well, I mean, we're talking to Bears fans, so we're hoping it never comes back. But yeah,
but I don't think it would have. Yes, the talent would have been there, but I don't think he would have gotten to the level of MVP like Jalen Hurts is right now. It Hurts is different, and I think everybody except Micah Parsons can acknowledge that.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually going to say a similar pathway too, in terms of the fact that between Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields, they both started off at one program, then went to another, right? Mm-hmm. And then also both of them, they were, Fields was the number 4 quarterback drafted in his class, and Hurts was the number 5 quarterback, right? And people had them maybe going a lot higher, and that's just where they ended up being. So there are similar paths to that as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, one thing that the Eagles have that we kind of thought the Bears would maybe do a better job of is supporting Justin Fields in the run game. What has kind of been the thing holding back the Bears offense in that regard, do you think?
The offensive line. It's pretty straightforward from the offseason going into the season. Ryan Poles has not done enough for the offensive line. And you know what? I do agree with that. But there's also reasons to it, right? He said right when he got the job that he was tearing this down and he was building from the trenches out. And he hasn't really done that. But at the same time, he's put pieces in place from this past draft that look like cornerstone pieces, especially on the defense. On the offense wise, they got Braxton Jones, who's looked good at left tackle. flashes here and there, and I think he's a potential long-term piece. Tevin Jenkins from last year's draft, they finally found a spot for him at right guard. He's looked phenomenal. He's probably been our best offensive lineman. At right tackle, it's probably been one of our bigger issues. It's basically been a rotation of Riley Reif and Larry Borum. And now apparently for this weekend's game, Alex Leatherwood might get a shot at right tackle.
Okay. So
that's the news coming out today, I heard. And then at center is probably the biggest issue. We signed Lucas Patrick in the offseason. He's had 2 injuries. His season's now over. He looked horrible even when he was in. And now it's Sam Mustaford, who's been a poor highlight reel in a sense. Every highlight reel that he is in, he's getting thrown around. He looks lost, poor snaps, etc.
So we talked a lot about the offense, right? And there's a 2-part question. Second part's not going to make sense. The first part is defensively. Like, what do you feel like the Chicago Bears bring to this game against the Eagles? Because I know, correct me if I'm right, is Jackson still out, or was Jackson?
Oh yeah, Eddie Jackson's out for the year. Yeah.
You lost Robert Quinn, you saw Roquan Smith. It's a lot of tearing apart going on both sides of the ball, but you're facing a high octane offense who's actually starting to click on all cylinders at the right time. Wide receivers AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, even Quez Watkins, Dallas Goedert coming back. Miles Sanders is just a runaway train right now. What do you feel defensively like can the Bears do to slow down the Eagles?
I'm not gonna lie, this is tough. There's not really much, especially the defensive line has been really bad since Robert Quinn got traded and Roquan, especially when Roquan Smith got traded. That really hurt us. But you know what? There's a guy who stepped up in that front 7, and that's Jack Sanborn, undrafted free agent out of Wisconsin. He's looked phenomenal since he's been put into that starting role. I know Jaquan Brisker and Kyler Gordon are back this weekend. So those 2 guys, Brisker has looked phenomenal this year. Gordon has shown flashes. I would say more that backfield would probably be best. Well, in terms of the secondary and stuff like that, and Jack Sanborn. But I have no faith in the defensive front. It's looked absolutely miserable this year. And as a Bears fan who's watched a lot of great defenses, it's dreadful to watch. Absolutely dreadful.
Okay. So here's the second part that makes no sense. So obviously, Morgan invited you on because we were looking for somebody to cover the Bears. How do you and Morgan know each other? Are you in Canada as well?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. We're doing a slow drip takeover. You know what I mean? Eventually, it's all going to be Canadians on the panel. But
relax. Okay, hold on.
Slow drip, man.
I don't know if you know this, but there's a lot of Spanish people around here. Okay.
Yeah, I've been to Toronto once. Can I say?
Huh? Yeah, I would definitely move to Toronto. I would kind of on that.
Hey,
wagon.
See, it's already in works, man. It's happening.
There we go.
Brian, pack your bags, man.
It's too cold for my baldy.
Oh, it's all good. You can wear toques up here, man.
Let me you know what? I want to credit Morgan. I want to credit Morgan because he came on. I was on a podcast that talked about the Cowboys, and I was just like a second person on there. My friend who's a huge Cowboys fan wanted to do it. Morgan was on the last podcast we ever did. So I want to credit Morgan for shutting down a podcast about the Cowboys.
You was Son Reddick the podcast? Big win. You was Son Reddick the podcast, bro?
Yeah. Hey, man, gotta represent,
Morgan, destroyer of pods.
That being said, it was a lovely time. I had a great time.
Oh, it was awesome.
I don't think it was because of me. But hey, it happens.
Dude, that's freaking awesome that you're in Canada as well. I mean, it just shows how much the sport is actually growing. I was just curious because I didn't hear the A yet, so that's the only reason I was curious about.
Yeah. We got a maximum here, so we got a quota that we got to hit. But so I'm actually curious, and it's not necessarily against this matchup, but what do you think about your division? Like, it's a very interesting division. The Lions might be good. The Packers might be terrible. And the Bears, they look like they might have a place. And then the Vikings, I don't know. Like I get in trouble talking to my friend, calling them pretenders, but I really don't see it, man. I just don't. So where do you see the Bears fitting in?
Okay, so let's start off with the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
I I don't trust them whatsoever, and strictly because of
Like
Kirk
you.
Cousins.
Yeah.
Right? No, like I don't know how anyone has faith in Kirk Cousins.
Thank you.
He clearly shows that when pressure comes, he falters.
Yep.
And that's basically it. It comes down to the quarterback, right? And if Kirk Cousins is not performing, which he never does in prime time and big games, you're not going to win. So the Vikings, I have no faith in, and I don't believe their future is as bright as what a lot of people think, strictly because who's the next quarterback in place? They don't have it.
I absolutely agree with that 100%.
There we go. The Lions, I'm not.
I love the Lions, by the way. And I told you guys in the beginning of the season, sorry to interrupt you, Nick.
Yeah.
I told you guys in the beginning of the season that the Lions are going to be freaking good, and nobody wants to believe me. Just want to put that out there.
I didn't believe anyone either. Respect to them.
Brian loves his blue teams.
But all in all, you know what? They've been playing well. Dan Campbell has proved a lot of people wrong as of right now. They got they got a lot of pieces. I'm not going to lie. Just the one thing is probably quarterback. You know, how much do you trust Jared Goff? He's playing well right now, but again, like we don't know.
Right.
And at the same time, seeing the Lions for so many years being absolutely terrible in the division, I am not putting any trust in them until they put together one full good season.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm waiting until after next season to make that judgment. So
fair enough.
And now last of the Packers. I cannot stand them. They are my most hated team.
Yeah.
I cannot stand Aaron Rodgers for many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that they are done. They are done. You know, if Aaron Rodgers retires or gets traded within the next 2 years, they have no cap. They got no cap to work with whatsoever. You know, the team's not built properly, in my opinion. They got no weapons other than that running back. Yeah, to me, the Packers just kill me, honestly. Because to me, I just don't think they're that good. I thought they haven't been good for a few years now. Just Aaron Rodgers proves everyone wrong. But now this year, it's catching up, and it's great to see. It's great to see. So the future of the Packers is certainly in doubt, and I love it. Absolutely love it. And for the Bears, well, I just believe we're on the uprising, and it's I think we'll be winning this division within at least definitely not next year, but the year after, I would say.
Yeah, perfect lead, and thank you, Ron, for putting that in the chat. Yeah, back to the Packers, just real quick. When you say that they're done, do you really believe that? Like, because you did also mention that Aaron Rodgers just kind of finds a way to make things happen. Is it time for Love to actually get his chance in the same way that they had him kind of stashed away, but he didn't get his shot? So it's like Love is following like Rodgers, like how Rodgers did with Favre. It's finally time for Love. That's the way that I felt, right? Quite frankly, during the Packers and Eagles game.
Well, you know what? The problem is with trying to put in Love right now is the fact of Aaron Rodgers' contract. You can't afford to do it. And even if you do it and Love is going off, like, what are you going to do with that cap now? He's going to be sitting on the bench with all that money. You can't cut him. You can't trade him, or it's even worse. So what do you do at that point? So to me, the Packers are sort of screwed. It's Aaron Rodgers or nothing at this rate.
Or you could just have the best backup quarterback in football, and it's like a Nick Foles-esque type of deal.
I don't know how much value that brings.
Listen, the backup position is the most important position in football, okay? Eagles will teach you that very well. Just ask Carson. My guy
I feel for Carson, man. If I knew Carson personally, I would give him a hug just because, like, goddamn, that man's been through a lot.
Dude, not one backup quarterback, but literally two backup quarterbacks outshone him. That's crazy.
Oh, a backup quarterback every place he's gone, man.
Yeah.
Like,
God, I didn't even think about that.
I'll be honest with you. I do think Rodgers would be a Denver Bronco like tomorrow.
Oh, that would be great to see Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers just suck together in that city. Oh my goodness,
that would be amazing.
So bad.
So bad.
All right, so away from the Karma Sutra.
Sorry to make you talk about the Packers so much, man.
It's okay. It's okay. All good.
I'm pretty sure Brian just said away from the Kama Sutra.
I don't know what's going on there.
Morgan said they Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers sucking in the same city so bad.
See, Brian. See, now this is why you can't stay on the podcast.
That's a slow burn, man.
This is why only us Canadians are allowed to stay on the podcast. You make comments like that.
Yeah, quite frankly, all these New York fans, they need to be quiet. I'm a newfound Toronto guy, so Newfoundland even. So
Okay.
yeah, I have to say, you should probably be quiet over there. He was lent that jersey, by the way. Nick Faria lent him that jersey. They're
Yeah.
both Giants fans.
That's not his.
So really quick, I feel like if Eric ended up in Canada, my guy will end up on the highest mountain with no shirt on, screaming to everybody that he's discovered
yeah.
a new land.
Yeah, we got a lot of Erics in Canada for sure. We got a lot of
Oh
them.
man, that does not sound good. It sounds
I
like you
declare
don't
this to
want
be
there.
Reese land.
It's like one more of me is too many. I know that.
Eric is
Honestly,
is a true
if you had to pick
descendant of
one
Jason Kelsey.
person, if you had to pick one person that was Canadian on the podcast, I think that Canadians would probably look at Eric and be like, "Yeah, it's him." That's what I think. I think you give out that.
I honestly agree.
Yeah, you
The
give
other-
that energy for sure. I never thought of it before, but
The other bit is the hockey, dude.
100%,
So
100%.
unfortunately, I belong. I definitely belong.
I mean that
I
as a
just wouldn't
compliment.
like any Maple Leafs fans, so that's gonna suck.
Eric would really Brett Favre Canada. He'll be jogging naked throughout the whole country.
Just me and the Moose.
Oh God. All right. So we got about 14 minutes left on the podcast, give or take. I mean, I feel like we can dive into predictions.
Mhm.
And I just want to acknowledge the fact that I need Zach to down a bottle of sake every single time because how low his eyes are and how,
Oh, bro,
how
for
chill his
sure.
face
Yeah,
has
if you're
been.
buying,
is
absolutely.
priceless.
Every time. Every time, absolutely. Just listen, order the drizzly, send it down my way, okay? And I'll down a bottle of sake before every show, no problem.
Has anybody used Drizzly, by the way? Have you guys used that before?
Saki?
I don't
No,
pay for
Drizzly.
delivery because it's a fucking scam.
Okay, I just want to declare it. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
completely with that.
Hell yeah.
Order a Happy Meal for $4 and then paying $25 for it.
Dude, eggs are $6. I'm not ordering delivery right now. That's not the times that we live in.
Oh, I'm moving to Canada because of inflation. But yeah, Bears and Eagles. I mean, we might as well let the guests take them one. Give us your prediction and what do you feel like will happen against when Philly meets Chicago.
Jalen Hurts is going to run all over the Bears' day. It's going to be terrible. I got the score at 42-24 Eagles. It's going to be very similar to that Cowboys game, in my opinion. But just again, I think the Eagles shut us down a bit more than what the Cowboys did. But by the end of the day, you guys destroy us. That's just how it's going to go. And I'm prepared for it. We're trying to tank here, and I want the second overall pick because that's possible. So
I like it.
Well, I definitely think we're going to help you guys tank. Here's I think it's going to be 38-13 because I do think that this is a game where we're going to establish a lead early. I think it's going to be pretty similar to that Giants game we just watched, and I actually believe that the starters are set a little bit earlier this time around.
I have a question before I get my prediction because I probably should know this, but I don't. How is the special teams unit in Chicago?
No, not the best. No.
Okay.
No.
Because I think that's my criteria. I don't know that this Bears offense can put up multiple touchdowns outside of Justin Fields being Justin Fields. Like I just feel like he's gonna get one somehow. It's gonna be miraculous. But especially without Mooney, understanding that this secondary is pretty again, a fellow Canadian, I want him to be good, but Chase Claypool is not going to do anything. I
know.
to.
Hey, you know what? And I know a lot of people are ripping him, but again, he's learning a new offense. I'm taking it easy with him.
Fair enough. I mean, the tangibles are crazy, right? Like that's kind of body that you want your receiver to have in the NFL. Like it just if you can figure out ways to create those matchups. But I just don't see this offense putting up. I think 13 is probably right, Eric. Like a touchdown, maybe 2 touchdowns, but a touchdown and 2 field goals kind of deal. And I think it's going to be 40 as well. Like I think it's just going to kind of be a repeat of the Giants game we just saw, where the Eagles just really had to figure out a way to keep Justin Fields in the pocket. That's the big thing. And similar to last week, they just had to stop Saquon from running the football, and they just did. So unfortunately, for like obviously you want a competitive game. but I don't
It's not
think it's
gonna
going to be competitive. So I'm going to go. What did you say? 38. I'm going to go 41-13. That's
So I was thinking that at first, and I shaved it back a little bit. Also,
I appreciate you doing that.
13 points in this world is just called 2 touchdowns to Cody Parkey. So,
Oh my god!
Damn.
I don't even know how he's
Damn.
in this league still. That's what I'm trying to see.
He was an Eagles kicker too, right? So
yes, he was.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
we went through it.
How are we feeling, Zach?
You know, I'm a little mad that 38's been talked about so much because that's about where I'm settling at as well. However, I do think that perhaps Philadelphia maybe gets a little bit back into old tendencies, where they kind of, slow down. You're getting towards the end of the season. You want to preserve your guys a little bit more, give you guys a little bit more rest. So I'm going to take it a little bit easy on the Bears. I'm going to get a nice number here. Wait for this. 31-13 Philadelphia Eagles.
It's nice. It's kind.
And a lot of high scoring. Well, I have a question.
On one
before I
side,
get
at
into
least,
this,
yeah.
Brian, what did you say last week? Like 12-11 for the Eagles against the Giants? What was it? Was real low. I can't remember what you thought it was going to be. Or I thought so.
Whatever. Question: Who's the guy behind you?
Wait, which one?
No,
The
for
40
Morgan.
or 34? Oh,
No,
sorry.
Morgan.
Me?
Oh.
Oh, schoolboy,
Yeah.
schoolboy Q, baby.
Bro, he's just been staring at me the whole
100%.
time. I feel a little intimidated right now.
Yeah. He stares into your soul, man. He does. He does do that. That's my guy.
So I'm actually not going as high as you guys, and it's not for a bad reason. It's not like the Eagles can do it. I think they can, but somebody Zach just mentioned it. Again, towards the end of the season, you kind of want to slow down, keep you guys healthy, right? So I feel like if in the first half the Eagles put up 21, Bears maybe have 7, maybe have 3, very low scoring, then you're looking in the second half where it's Nick Sirianni's like, okay, like if we score another touchdown, let's take the starters out, let's run with the backups, and let's just keep everybody healthy, especially what happened last week. So I'm going with 28-7. It's gonna be kind of like the Vikings game where they have that drive where they put away the opposing team and they just walk away from it. The idea, in my opinion, is get healthy. Your right tackle has had a bit of a scare last game. Let's see if we get him some rest. Jalen Hurts has been getting kind of beat up over the last 2 weeks. Let's see if we get him some rest. Just take care of your guys at this point in the season and rest up for Christmas Eve, because right now, even though the Eagles haven't been stating, Christmas Eve is probably the most important game on their schedule this season, regardless of what Michael Parsons said today. It's definitely like, it has to be circled on the Eagles schedule because of all the disrespect they've been getting with the whole Dak Prescott wasn't playing crap. But I do think it'll be 28-7, 28-14 max. I just think the Eagles kind of pull their starters towards the second half.
I'm dreaming, just speaking on that Christmas Eve game. I'm dreaming of a situation where the Eagles have already locked up the 1 seed and can just rest their start against the Cowboys. Imagine how defeating that'll be for a
Can
Cowboys
they do
team.
that? I mean, ideally, if Cowboys and Vikings both lose this week, they're 3 games up on the Vikings. They're 3 games up on the Cowboys with 3 games remaining. So they have. I would think they have to beat the Cowboys no matter what.
I don't think they have. I think they have to count on a Cowboys loss at some point, which might not happen. But I just remember what it was 3 years ago where they did the same thing. And then, the Cowboys put up 50 points and it was, the Cowboys, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, who cares? Who cares?
Yeah,
That's what I want to say. Like, congratulations for the win. Who cares? And then Mike Parsons could talk about how, like, Jalen Hurts is a system guy and then he can go watch him win a Super Bowl. That would be awesome. I love that.
Definitely not against that at all. So yeah, I mean, we're all feeling the Eagles' victory. Even Nick, Nick, huge shout out to you for joining the pod today, man. We really appreciate it. Are you currently podcasting? Or are you currently putting your stuff out there? What are you doing right now?
Nah, nothing. Unfortunately, I was just a big Bears fan. That's basically it right now.
Hey, dude, we respect it, man. Yeah, honestly, we're all just, as much as the guys give me flack for it, we're all big Eagles over here. Even though I'm wearing green and Zach is wearing blue and red, so I don't wear none of that.
Hey, there's only one Philly team. Well, actually, Eric, I don't know. Are the Flyers playing tonight? All my energy's gone into.
Yeah, I'm gonna quickly switch over to a hockey sweater as soon as we get off this, and they're about the puck drop in a few minutes, I guess. So
there
we go.
Anyway, Canada. Where's my flag? There it is.
Can we just end the podcast with that and just not even say go versus? Oh yeah, there, Canada.
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 Yeah.
But
One
yeah.
day I'll have a flag and I'll actually be here instead of just just this.
We can get you one. We can get you one of those for sure. Yeah.
Oh God. But yeah, on another note, we're flipping the birds. I'm Brian Cameron alongside Eric Reese, Valella, Morgan Burkett, and special guest Nick Maria. We'll definitely see you guys next week. And until then,
Go Birds.
Go Birds!
yes, sir.
All right.